Happy weekend, dudes. Welcome back to Grand Prix World. We're kicking off another playthrough. This one will run concurrently to the Tyrrell playthrough we're running over on YouTube. And it won't be Twitch exclusive, though. These VODs will be at a later time uploaded to YouTube as well, so you can watch wherever's convenient. This playthrough is going to be a bit more like the Arrows one, with a few minor adjustments. So as per the requests of quite a few people, we're going to be back in the midfield mix. I'm actually going to play as my favourite team, which is my second favourite team after Arrows, but my favourite team that's still in the sport, which is Sauber. The reason being, as discussed in other videos, they actually present, I would say, one of the bigger challenges available in the game, along with Stuart, actually. But particularly Sauber is a problem. Now, you may say, well, how's that, given they have 20 million more in the bank than Tyrrell or Minardi? Well, the reason is that we are paying two, let's say, fairly top line drivers out of our own pocket. We are also paying, I believe we have customer engines, customer tyres, and customer fuel supply, if memory serves. So what that means is that the team hemorrhages cash like you wouldn't believe. And the bigger challenge actually is getting that under control as quickly as possible. So I think it'd be quite fun to do that together. And also, we're going to be doing our best to develop some young European talent at the same time. And that's kind of the only restriction we'll be going for in this playthrough. So it's kind of like the Arrows one, but again, no Pedro Diniz, and we're going to try and build the team around a young, dynamic European setup. So without further ado, let's get down to business. 2.581 million in the bankaroonie right now. So priorities. First priority actually in this playthrough, and again, money is usually your first priority. Is money. We got to get the money situation under control, and as you can see, we have two fairly expensive drivers, and we want to replace those fairly quickly, actually. So let's see who's available to be a number one driver, and this will be someone who's probably already in the sport, who has some potential to grow, but maybe also has a few laps under the belt. I would say why don't we take... Actually, let's see who's actually really young first. Moriera's 22, Johnson 29, Carl Eisen 27, Loretti 24, Elliott 30, Pattison 27, Ebert 26, Tanaka 25, Marini 21, Fellows 23, Rainbow 24. Doesn't he look like he's a boxer or something, a rugby player? He's had a very short and painful career. We've got Montemini, who's 33, Montoya, who's 22. Jörg Muller is already in the team. I would like to promote him at some point, but the problem we have there is that if we don't fire him and rehire him straight away, which we can't actually do, then we have to continue paying one of our drivers. So Muller is going to be a test driver a little while longer, unfortunately. So I'm thinking what am I thinking? So actually, some of these drivers I'm familiar with in the context of the game, and Moriera generally goes on to be quite good, but he is Brazilian. He would have been my first choice if I had free choice. Carl Eisen, German. He's got 2 extra points already. Loretti is also good and can go on to do very well for himself. Do we have anyone with any extra talent? Please excuse the obnoxious clicking. Fellows is also a good option, 23 and British. I'm going to go with... He's 27. Let's give him a shot. And we will make him our #1 driver, given that he's already 27 years old. We'll take him for 2 seasons, equal #1 driver. Give him a small bonus to make sure that he agrees to sign. I'm going to offer him just a flat 32k. He's ready to go. Let's start him now. Oh, shit, we can't get rid of a Lacey because I forgot that you have to pay a contract termination fee. Shit. Okay. I've completely forgot about that. Right, well still, we have to replace the drivers, so let's get down to that immediately. I'm actually going to let Jörg Muller go because having thought about it some more, if we take a look, he's actually got nothing to offer and his morale is crap. So our second driver will be Loretti. Again, strong driver in terms of those available as non-F1 drivers at present. Again, 2 seasons, equal #1. Boom. He'll be starting 1999. And then we're going to be taking fellows because I'm biased. And he's British and I am British, and that's all we need. We'll take him for 2 seasons as well, and then consider him for a promotion at age 25. So he will start in 1999 as well. Cool. So we've already set up our young, promising team. Now we have to see who we can pick from obscurity, from outside F1, to head up our departments, and whether that's actually a smart choice. First things first, though, we have some design bods to pick up, and again, you've got to be careful when you're bolstering your team, but it doesn't hurt to make a few big signings early on. It really doesn't. So, commercial. Are there any sort of obvious no-brainers? I mean, Rob Armstrong's a good bet, but below 2-star, it really makes sense actually to go after a non-F1 guy because they will sign without any commission. So why don't we say 2 seasons? We don't want to handicap ourselves too long. 106,000, 0% commission. Charles Aston, welcome to the team for 1999. Design, I don't really want to go backwards if I can, and we all know Mike Gascoigne is the boy to go for if you can. So we're going to do that. I'm going to offer him really big bonuses because we're never going to cash in on them. And I want him for 2 seasons ideally. Excellent. He will start 1999. Okay, our mechanics, I don't mind going for someone younger. Why don't we go for Stapleton? Again, 2 seasons. 2000 will be a year of change. It gives us a chance to build a foundation within the team, get our finances under control. For construction, you can't really see beyond Harvey Postlethwaite, to be honest, if you're playing this game with your brain engaged. But what we will actually do is pick another young upstart, and again, this is kind of to challenge myself as much as anything else. It doesn't really make sense to do it. Tony Watkins, welcome, sir. Alright, so that's good. We have signed ourselves some new bods, and we're going to have to make a time investment here to get all of them firing on all cylinders. So obviously, there's no reason why Watkins can't go on to become a 5-star engineer or why Aston can't go on to become a 5-star commercial director. It just takes seasons, it takes success. So what we have to do is maximize what we can bring to bear this season. So no testing, because we really do have to save ourselves some cash. That is going to damage morale as the season goes on, which in turn will have a drag effect on our ability to develop the car, to pull in contracts and stuff. So we want to maximize things from the start. Early on, we want to see if we can't get ourselves a bigger and better team sponsor. Now, there's a good chance that none of them will be interested in talking to us, but we have to give it a blast. At the same time, we also want to at least get a partner deal. I'm going to put 5% into Honda, 5% into Peugeot, 5% into Ford, and we'll see who will actually speak to us. In terms of tyres, we'll go for Goodyear. They give us less money, but they are more likely to develop the tyres themselves, which I think we need. So they'll get 15% to play with. And in terms of fuel, we're going for a partner deal. We won't get a works deal, I don't think. And I think we need a compromise between money and development. So that leaves us Total, Texaco, or Agip. I'm going to go for Agip. Keep the European flavour going, since we are in the heart of Europe. And in terms of monies, we're going to continue to chase Petronas, because Sauber and Petronas kind of go, like Laurel and Hardy. One kind of goes with the other, at least if you're a 90s F1 fan. We will be doing quite a bit of schmoozing, because, again, we need to start very early picking up contracts before morale gets so bad that the team becomes ineffective. So where we are going to spend our money is on hospitality and getting contracts signed. We're also going to be keeping an eye on the value of our shares, currently 110,000, because what we desperately need is set up a fan club as well. What we desperately need to do is make use of the staff we've got now while the morale is good, because the morale is inevitably going to go backwards. I doubt we'll have a full sponsor portfolio unless we really compromise on what we're willing to accept. That's okay. The main thing is we want to stop paying for these three things as much as is possible. We may end up with a customer deal here or there, and if we can get ourselves a team sponsor, that would be amazing. But most often when I play Sauber, I'll be honest with you, in the second season, no one will sign with you, and I don't know why. Right, so with all that done, I'm going to be a hypocrite and see that the cost per mile is massive. Let's do 100 miles of testing, because we've got nothing else to worry about, actually. We are going to start losing money at a scary rate. But, why not? And then we'll build some spare parts, and then we'll hit the track. So these guys will focus on setup work. Muller will focus on research and development, because that obviously makes the most sense. I might bump it, actually, to 150 miles. That way they get 50 miles of testing each, which is nothing. It really isn't compared to the sort of distances F1 teams were running back in the day. But that's already going to cost us the best part of $500,000, but it will be the only test we do. Now, you may be wondering, why am I doing it? I've done a cost-benefit analysis in my head quickly on the fly, and to my mind, if we can keep the morale high for one round at least, then that's probably going to pay dividends in the early stages of negotiations. It might enable us to get a few extra dollars here and there, but this will be our last test, so we should make the most of it. Testing is complete, and yeah, we've discovered a problem with our chassis that we are not going to fix. Moving on, what else are we working on? We have some severe reliability problems, and that is going to exacerbate problems with morale. I'm going to go and work only, and really only, on reliability upgrades. We're also going to start on next year's car early. Again, maximize the good morale while you've got it. Make use of the talented designer while we have him, or the somewhat talented designer. Okay, so hospitality. Who are we bringing? Let's bring ourselves Playlife. Let's bring Agip, and let's bring. We won't bring one of our engine suppliers, actually. Let's bring Goodyear, and then we'll see which engine supplier we're going after. Right. I think that's all we can do at this point. We're going to end up losing a shitload of money in the first Grand Prix. Then we're going to try and claw it back. I'm going to leave the guys on around medium aggressiveness. Again, we really don't want to be pushing too hard and putting too much wear into the cars if we're trying to keep our costs reasonable. Right, we've got lots of setup points to spend. What do we want to do here? Yeah, I think that's reasonable. And we'll set Herbert up a bit differently. Nice. Okay, Lacey, you'll be on the soft tyre. Herbert will be on the hard tyre. We've got some repair work we need to do because we ran a test. We should also build some spare parts. Again, kissing goodbye to our money. We can build 3 spare parts per turn. We're probably going to use at least 2, I would expect. Sorry, 4 spare parts per turn. Well, that's good. That won't last. Good to build ourselves up a little inventory now. Right. Don't care about the T car right now. We just want to keep the race cars in good nick. Okay, superb. Superb. Let's figure out what we're doing with our pit crew, shall we? Right, we're going to be 5% on keeping our own car secure. Not that there's anything really worth taking off it. We're going to put 8% watching Arrows, who will be one of our rivals. And we're going to be monitoring Benetton for an active suspension system to see if we can't copy it. Okay, super duper. We've already blown through like a third of our budget, so let's hope that we get some cash coming in. Unlikely though. Oh, what did I not set up? Oh, construction of the cars. Okay, the cars are all prepared. Nice. I like that it at least tells me that. Okay, so we're hoping really for a good midfield showing, ideally tickling towards the end of the points if all goes well, which chances are it won't. Okay, let's see what we get in qualifying. That is not a good qualifying. 14 and 15. Jean Lacey coming home best part of a tenth ahead of Herbert. We're splitting the Stewarts, which is a little concerning. The Arrows are a full second down the road, which I don't like. Although we are about 2 seconds clear of the Prosts and 3 seconds clear of the Minardis and the Tyrrells. So we're in sort of a no man's land. Great qualifying for Benetton, who line up second and third, Wirtz leading Fisichella. They couldn't have really asked for a better start, to be honest. Ferrari, bit of a struggle there. 7th for Irvine, 8th for Schumacher. Mika Hakkinen takes pole, though. Frentzen out-qualifies Coulthard, who splits the Williams. It seems, aside from Hakkinen, like the second drivers seem to be the ones that are opening up here. Deniz out-qualifies Salo as well. Very, very interesting. Let's see how things pan out in the Grand Prix. So we've got light rain for the Grand Prix, 28 degrees track temperature. That kind of messes up my strategy a little bit because we're going to be... I'm still going to try and one-stop Herbert, to be honest. Because I think that might be the way to go if the weather changes, to keep him on strategy. Either that or he'll crash. But, you know, you've got to speculate to accumulate, and we honestly don't know what's going to happen yet anyway. Best of luck. Oh, that doesn't look good. 2 DNFs. So we have a suspension failure for Jean Alesi, looks like close to the end of the Grand Prix, and an engine failure for Herbert. Engine failure is also blighting the Benetton of Alex Wurz, the Ferrari Michael Schumacher, and the McLaren of David Coulthard. Salo and Hakkinen, the two Mickers, also out. So the win goes to Damon Hill in the Jordan, of all things, on a 1:38.13.657. That's put a big smile on my face. Giancarlo Fisichella takes second for Benetton, following up on a strong qualification for them. Same for Frentzen in the Williams, taking third. That rounds off your podium. Points finishes for Irvine in the Ferrari, Deniz in the Arrows, and Newhouse in the Williams. That is actually, I think, the most mixed up finish I think I've ever seen in a first round finish. Damon Hill managed to lap everybody up to Barrichello in 8th. The Prosts finished just outside the points as well. Wow. That's fun, actually. That already makes me quite encouraged for the season ahead to see the key teams struggle so much. That's awesome. That means we've got a really mixed up Drivers' Championship. Hill leading Fisichella from Frentzen, of course. Jordan currently top of the pile in the Constructors, ahead of Benetton, Williams, Ferrari, and Arrows, who currently lie ahead of McLaren. That's awesome. That's made me really happy. Okay, we've lost an extra $500,000, so you can see now why I'm concerned about money. We're 3 races away from bankruptcy at this point. So we've got to hope for some good news. As you can see, Red Bull have pulled out of talks with us immediately. Play Life will not talk to us. Let's try again with Red Bull and Buzzing Hornets. See if either of those will give us the time of day. We can't really afford to spend much more time than that. In terms of engines, we have a 2-season partner deal with Ford, 2-season partner deal with Mugen, a 2-season works deal with Peugeot. Now, there's a temptation. See, the thing is, the partner deal with Honda is going to be super easy to get, I suspect. But 10 mil in the kitty would not hurt one little bit. So we're going for Peugeot Power. We have a 2-season partner deal on the table with Goodyear as well. That's great. And 1-season partner deal with Agip. That should be quick to close, which is good. That's very good news. So what we want to do then is we want to bring Peugeot along to the next Grand Prix. We're going to be cutting our spending pretty significantly. Let's see how our share prices are. They've gone up a little bit. But we're not at a point yet where I'm comfortable selling any stake in the team. No new staff to hire, which is good because we can't really afford it. Let's see how we are for wear and tear. So you can tell that Older Lacey did quite well, actually, and got close to the end of the Grand Prix, given how much he's clearly knackered his Lacey mobile. And you can see already we've gone from 21% to build a set of spare parts to 25%. And that's the impact of a double DNF on the season opener. That's made the team that much less efficient. It really sucks. We're not going to invest in the factory because we cannot afford it. What we are going to do is repair our cars. Yeah, just checking how progress is going there. Doesn't look great, does it? Right, unfortunately, there's damage on the cars, and damage, as we know from the last playthrough, is way more of a negative factor to your race cars than wear is, but you don't really want to be starting a Grand Prix with either. Excuse me a moment. Double sneeze. Gross. Okay, so our cars are back in race-worthy condition, and we have moved around our hospitality to try and make ourselves some friends with cash and influence. Let's check what's going on in the news. Damon Hill won, of course. Mika Hakkinen from pole. We had a absolute nightmare, which is true. Williams are very happy to have two cars in the top six, as they would be. The relationship between the FIA and Sauber is worse than it is before. That's also not good. That makes them less likely to homologate our stuff. Arrows have picked up Johnny Herbert, who we recently fired. Dario Loretti and Carl Eisen are confirmed as our drivers for next season. Michael Schumacher picked up the fastest lap in the last Grand Prix, despite his engine exploding. John Fellows will be our test driver. There was a pit stop problem for Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Didn't affect him, though, as he still managed to bring it home on the podium. It's a bunch of signings for us, which we already know. Stefano Domenicali is leaving Ferrari to join Williams. Craig Pollock has been named the least effective manager. And the TV watching public have selected Eddie Jordan as the best F1 manager, and rightly so. We made a loss at the last Grand Prix of 1.152 million. That includes our spend, it's not just from the race. So now, of course, no testing, minimal production, and we're going to have to probably take a loan at some point if we can't free up some capital some other way. Yeah, we'll wait till our share price hopefully goes up. Now, we've got no setup points to spend at the next Grand Prix. There are currently no updates for any of the components on our car. Of course not, it's only been one round. Let's move on to Brazil and see if we can't achieve anything. I'm going to turn the aggressiveness down on the drivers. Reason being that and I should have done this before, to be honest, we saw that actually the car suffers a lot of reliability problems on numerous components, and we're just going to end up burning through money and spare parts to deal with it. Same split, softs for Lacey, hards for Herbert. Let's see what we can make happen. Okay, dry with a strong wind, 25 degrees. Don't know if that favours us or not just yet. Notebook's out. P13 for Lacey, P15 for Herbert. That's a slight improvement over our last qualifying showing. Still splitting the Stewarts, but we've got one car ahead. Michael Schumacher takes pole for Ferrari on a 1:17.075. Mika Hakkinen lines up second. Benetton continue to be strong out the gate with a third on the grid for Giancarlo Fisichella. Coulthard lining up fourth. The Williams of Newhouse and Frentzen line up fifth and sixth. Wirtz takes seventh. Ferrari continue to struggle with Irvine in eighth. Last time's race winner Damon Hill lands up ninth, and the top 10 is rounded out by Mika Salo. Track temperature has increased 5 degrees for the race. We've got some cloud cover as well and sort of a slack wind. We will be one stopping the Herbert once I've put fresh boots on everybody. So he'll be stopping lap 36, which is great race maths. And fresh boots for him. Used to get a lot of tyres back in the day, didn't you? Grip levels on the track are sort of medium. If it doesn't rain during the Grand Prix, then that will only increase. So I've got a feeling the soft tyre might actually be the one to go for, but let us see. Okay, so at least we finished this time. Johnny Herbert finishes 10th, but we have another suspension failure for Jean Alesi, sharing his fate with Olivier Panis in the Prost, who also has a suspension failure. Engine failures taking out the second Prost of Gianno Trulli and Mika Salo's Arrows as well as the Benetton of Fisichella. That sucks for them. Coulthard has another DNF with a brake failure, and Shinji Nakano was taken out in an accident. At least they made it look that way. Mika Hakkinen takes the win for McLaren, getting them back on track. Ahead of Michael Schumacher's Ferrari, Johnny Newhouse rounds out your podium. Wirtz continues Benetton's strong run with a finish in 4th. Frentzen takes 5th, and Irvine is your last point scorer. So double points again for Williams and Ferrari. That means we now have a tie at the top of the driver's standings with Hakkinen and Damon Hill on 10 points apiece. Frentzen and Schumacher make it an all-German second row, sharing third with... Oh, actually, no, it's not all-German, because Fisichella is also on 6 points. Johnny Newhouse, Eddie Irvine, Alexander Wirtz, and Pedro Diniz are the remaining scorers. Williams sit atop of the constructors, 11 points, from Ferrari, Jordan and McLaren, who all share second place on 10 points apiece, ahead of Benetton with 9 points and Arrows on 2. That's actually a really close start as well. I'm excited. This season could prove to be a spicy one. Let's see how much money we've lost. Just a little this time. Our cutbacks actually paid off. Now, this race is actually going to be another expensive one to attend, but we'll do what we can. And as you can see, we're starting to get morale problems here in the technical department and with Jean Alesi, neither of which will be performing at their peak. We have a lot of wear and tear and damage on the cars. Our share price has risen, but not enough to make it interesting to me. Let's see how we're doing on the old dealaroos. Red Bull will actually speak to us. 2-season deal at 21 million. That has to become a new priority for us. So we will be dropping Agip in favour of Red Bull at the next Grand Prix. That's super important and very encouraging news. That makes me happy. What other progress have we made? No progress so far on the Peugeot deal, or on the tyres, or on the Agip deal. Poor performance will make it that way. What I'm going to do is pull guys off the Petronas deal. We're going to focus our efforts on getting... well, ideally, I want to get the Agip deal out of the way first, because that's the easiest one to grab. And... put an extra 5% onto the engine deal. This could turn out to be quite promising if we can pull it off, but it's hard to say if we will. Okay, guys, thanks very much for joining me. I hope you're having a wicked weekend. Don't do anything I wouldn't do, and I will see you again very, very soon. Thank you. Bye.